to think for yourself, as we've been trying to do with the thing. And this is what Eric Gibson says. Somehow or other, we've got to get that into the project. Now, as I've said, we can have quiet time in the morning and we can have quiet time in the evening. Not a problem. All right? But I want it to be more than just sit there quietly. I want to feel these guys are coming away with something. And that's something that is your mum, I'm 100% sure, can put a lot of input into. How do we actually get to that? What do we give to these guys to teach them that?
Right.
Let's give them something to read and then something to discuss and talk about. And then say to them, right, you might think this is nuts, just try it.
Right. Let's see, Marion Bach told me meditation was the one part of the Eglaw experience that she just never connected with. And I think this goes back to Littke, this goes back to Howard Gardner. You can't have one size fits all. One size fits none, as Littke points out. Only a small percentage of people, I think, figure out what meditation's about, because the instructions that are given are, well, in fact, I never remember really receiving instructions in the hall that was meaningful to me. I only brought with me what my mom showed me. So, you know, I think Marion probably never received the right, for her, the guidelines that she needed. And so I agree with you that there will be some sort of guidance for the group. And, you know, it might be helpful to have that, you know, as she probably has a little tricks. When someone's swaying, you just gently, just a touch to the shoulder might stop the swaying or whatever, you know. Yeah. That's what helped me, because I used to fall asleep.
Well, I tell you what, now, in 1964, my mother gave me, this is something out of the Betty Sutherland School of Learning, right?
Right.
In 1964, my mother gave me a Bible. We'd got family Bibles and things at home, but she said, you're getting to the end of school now. You're going to need books and things like that. And for my birthday, she gave me a Bible set, right? In it, she typed on her little typewriter a quote from a guy who called the quote is called "A Religious Outlook for Modern Man" by Raynor C. Johnson, who I think is an American, author of The Imprisoned Splendor. Right? And the quote is this: "If we are prepared to take the more general and popular view of Christian faith, that is an act of total commitment to the Spirit of Jesus Christ for one's life, then it is indisputable that this has been, for very many, all down the ages, a way of salvation. But to proclaim this as a dogma, as of necessity, the only way, is to offend against the Spirit of Jesus himself. If it were true, it would lead us to say that non-Christian people of the world, no matter how great their spirituality or saintliness, were among the lost. This is nonsense. Whatever theory one may hold about salvation, this at least is fact. The great saints and mystics are all not confined to any one religion or religious tradition. i.e., we don't all fit in the same box. They appear in many traditions and are beyond the point where labels matter. Many roads converge on the Mount of God, and the travellers along these many roads are expressions of the one Spirit." Well, now, for me, that was a big eye-opener. And I remember when I got to Eglon for the first time, I remember reading that and thinking to myself, look at all these people coming from all these different worlds, and yet we're putting them through a basically Christian religion. And you can't say one size fits all. You've got to. JC's idea of meditation was brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Because it was saying to everybody, I recognize your own personal ideas and thoughts and everything else. Now just sit still in that pond of thoughts of your own. And while it's calm, I'm going to drop this pebble in for you to think about. He didn't say you have to believe it.
No.
He didn't say you have to adhere to it. He didn't say you've got to do as I tell you. He just said, that's your mill pond. Let me just drop this thought in it. And if it makes a difference, fine. If it doesn't matter. And that's where we're coming from. And I think that saying to your mum, come up with a way in which we can introduce the JC meditation to students and make them feel that it's worthwhile. And if we do that every morning and every night, then they will feel they've gone away with something. And it's something that they will do. I mean, I know that a lot of Eglon students still do that.
Yeah.
They stop in the morning before they open up their emails and before they do everything else, and they stop and they have that little quiet time, listen for that small voice of calm, and then they get on with their day. And then in the evening, they sum up the day.
What John Vornley does is he types a message about once a month and puts it as his signature for his email.
But there you go, brilliant.
As he's typing, he says he gets into it, and that's his meditation. See, so for each person, there's something special.
Well, I've had that's right. Now, I've had the other thing that I'm just literally, when you called, I was writing back to a lady who I did a whole lot of work with ages and ages ago. And she spoke to me a little while ago telling me she was feeling that she was getting old. And I said, you're only as old as you think you are, my dear. And she sent me something from Dr. Seuss's books for the older kids. And there's a whole lot of silly book titles and everything else. But underneath it is written, just in case you weren't feeling too old today, the people who are starting college this fall were born in 1993. They're too young to remember the space shuttle blowing up. Their lifetime has always included AIDS. The CD was introduced 2 years before they were born. They've always had an answering machine on the telephone. They've always had cable TV. Jay Leno has always been on The Tonight Show. Popcorn has always been microwaved. They never took